So you're there living, you're finding your place,
Hmm.
and then take us to when the fire hit you.
Sure. So I guess so right before the fire happened, I had
Okay.
gone home to visit my family over Christmas,
Okay.
and that's a tradition I just started like last year because I hadn't typically been going home for Christmas, but I thought it would be good to start doing that. So I was out of town until January 3rd. I
Okay.
was gone for about 2 weeks, and I got back, and I was kind of just still unpacking, getting settled in, and um, starting to plan some tintype shoots. I had recently gotten a new to me 8x10 camera,
Mhm.
large format camera, um, and I had used it one time on a shoot. Actually, I used it really technically about 3 times, but once in like a studio shoot,
Mhm.
and I was starting to reach out to people, and I was setting up shoots, and I was orchestrating things that I wanted to do, and I had big plans for my tin type business coming up,
Okay.
and I really wanted to lean into that more. Um, so yeah, I kind of was just like writing stuff down in notebooks and like sketching and drawing stuff up. And then, let's see, the week of the fire, so Monday before the fire happened, I woke up that morning with a flat tire on my car,
Okay.
which is strange because the Highlander never gives me problems. But and normally I'll change my own tire, but I couldn't get the tire off. I had just gotten this tire put on in October, so I was really puzzled as to why I had a flat so soon. My insurance came and changed it, and they said there's nothing wrong with this tire. Someone overinflated it and it just blew out. So it was a really weird
Oh,
scenario.
okay.
So I'll have to take that up with my mechanic. But anyway, um, I got that fixed. And that evening, I went on a really nice walk. And usually would walk up to the Millard Falls Road.
Okay.
Um, and I walked all the way up and saw the most beautiful sunset and sort of had this like blissful moment. And I felt really good about, what was coming, like the future. I was excited for my creative path. And I was looking at like the view of Altadena in LA. And I was walking home and I lost my house keys. I've never lost my house keys in my life, but somehow on this walk home,
Yeah.
my keys flung out of my pocket. And to me, that's some sort of strange omen for the next day. So I got home and realized my keys were gone. Luckily, my roommate was there, so it
Yeah.
wasn't a big deal at the time. But in my head, I'm thinking I'll just do that walk again in the morning and I'll find them. I'm sure they're somewhere on that route.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we had gotten reports of the windstorm approaching, but the news said the windstorm wasn't going to start until 10 a.m. So I thought I'll get up before the windstorm, as if they can predict that. And sure
Yeah.
enough, I was woken up at 3 in the morning by the winds that night. So very early Tuesday morning.
Which was the 7th, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So on the 7th, I am up and I'm looking outside in the morning and I'm like, there's no way I'm going out there. I'm not going to find my keys.
Yeah.
We have this large palm tree in our yard, and these fronds, these like 6, 8, 10-foot fronds are coming down like spears. Stuff's blowing out of our yard onto the streets. Like it was the most crazy windstorm I've ever seen. Our power goes out around 10 a.m. So me and my roommate, I think we went out maybe to like a yoga class or something. We left the house for a couple hours. We came back, the power was back on, and kind of the winds had chilled a little bit. So we're just like going about our business, working on something at the house. And then the power goes out again, probably, I think it was around dusk, around, and I remember we were each kind of in our rooms, and I had put on Dune on VHS. I had
Okay.
this original copy of Dune that still in its original sealed packaging,
The first one.
the first
The one with
one.
Kyle MacLachlan?
Yes.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I had never opened it. I thought maybe I'll sell this someday. I don't know. But I decided to open it and watch
Okay.
it. I was like, why am I keeping this sealed? I need to watch this film.
Okay.
So I was laying in bed watching Dune on VHS when the power went out the second time.
Okay.
And at that point, it was dark out. And I'm laying in my bed on my phone, which is at like 50% battery. And I'm wondering what I should do. And I'm like, maybe I should just go to sleep or do something. I don't really want to leave. I don't know what to do. So maybe half an hour later, I received a phone call from one of my friends, and she said there's a fire in Altadena. She lived on the east side of Altadena and really close to Eden Canyon.
Okay.
She said, "There's a fire, you should think about evacuating." And I was really confused by that, so I went
Okay.
outside, and I went outside and I actually stood on top of my car and I could see the fire from my house, which is about 2 miles away. My home was on Figueroa Drive
Okay.
between Fair Oaks and Glenrose,
Okay. I
so
know where
really
you're at.
close to
Yeah.
that cemetery on Fair Oaks. And as I'm outside standing on top of my car looking at the fire, another friend calls who lives in Altadena and says the same thing. And at that point, I'm looking and seeing the trees in my yards like swaying like hurricane style.
Yeah.
So I started getting really nervous and talked to my roommate. I'm like, yeah, we should definitely just start packing some stuff up. And we had a neighbors that lived in a back house, three sisters. So we alerted them. I think one or two of them were home. And
Okay.
we just showed them the fire. They're not English speaking.
Oh, okay.
So we were like, this fire, like you should pack and evacuate. So and this was about 7 p.m. So we had time, but when you're looking through, I had a headlamp that was half dead, so it was really dim, and
Okay.
I remember standing there looking through my bedroom, looking in my closet. I mean, like, I have all this stuff. What do I take? I grabbed like five of my favorite t-shirts,
Yeah.
and I did grab my birth certificate and like some important papers and like a box of my tintypes. I was sort of like not taking it that seriously.
Mhm.
I remember confidently saying to my roommate, "There's no way this is going to reach us. It would have to be catastrophic if it were to get this far. And like, look at how much neighborhood this would have to go through. Like, that's just not going to happen. The city, the firefighters, whoever is not going to let that happen." Um, and we both agreed that I was right.
Yeah.
um, so, I have two cats and my roommate has a dog. So we have our sweet little pets they were on high alert. They were all
Okay.
acting very strange. Like they knew something bad was happening, but I think maybe they were scared of the wind or something. So we just start grabbing some stuff very, very randomly. When I think back, I kick myself for not loading my car to the brim because we had the time. And I just, I thought the more I take, the more I'm going to have to put away when I get home. So really, I took about two backpacks worth of stuff.
Mhm.
And
And your roommate, how much
same
they
with my
take?
roommate.